It's an absolute privilege this morning to be talking to Michael Saltzman. Michael Saltzman is the Director of Digital Products for BlueSkyBio. Good morning. How are you?
Good. Ken, thank you so much for having me. This is a great discussion.
Well, it's an honor. We met at the Israeli Academy of Osseointegration meeting. I mean, you stopped by the hotel, had a chance to talk. I mean, I'd heard about you forever. I mean, Scott Gans, Rick Ferguson, Isaac Towell, all these people who knew Michael Klein, who apparently got you started, from what I understand, all of this.
Yep, definitely.
And so we sat and we talked, and I was listening to what you were talking about. And in talking to Scott and with AI and always hearing about what artificial intelligence is doing, we had this conversation, and you clarified, and even when I spoke to Mr. Lerner, that you guys have been working on machine learning at BlueSkyBio for simplicity purposes for the end user for what, how long now? 7, 8 years?
Yeah, we started with our first development, which was the automatic nerve detection. We started that probably around 7 years ago. I mean, being the first project, it was a tremendous project. It took a lot of effort, but we've been able to build on that expertise and just add automation and artificial intelligence and almost everything that we're doing on the digital side.
So for those people who are watching, I want to clarify the sort of the narrative of today. Blue Sky Bio is not just planning software. It's an educational company on so many different levels. It is also a product company. You manufacture implants. Well, you don't have private label printers, but it's anything that you need as a solution provider for doing aligners or implants or whatever you provide. And the scope of the knowledge network that you provide from every aspect of this, from somebody who wants to do nothing more than, okay, here's my file, send it to me, or somebody who wants to educate with the material that they get from you, it's all there. And we're going to show it in just a second. So for purely clarity, you're not just planning, but you are open. Okay, can you clarify open in terms of what that means with respect to the company?
Okay, so if I could give a little bit of background and tell a bit of the Blue Sky Bio story, I'm going to share my screen
Sure.
and I'll just bring up here. First and foremost, Blue Sky Bio is a dental implant company. We manufacture the implants, all the relevant abutments and parts, and surgical drills and everything in between. And as you mentioned, we carry printers and scanners. It's tremendous project and tremendous initiative. A bit about the Blue Sky Bio philosophy is to use research and development and technology and innovation to deliver value to the dentists, thereby delivering value to the patients and raising the standard of care. And we've done that with our implant systems. And then around 15 years ago, we started doing that with digital dentistry. And what started as a very small project ended up turning into what we have today, which is a tremendous software solution. And I'll just bring up, let me close out this case. And today we have around 8 or 9 different modules within the software. We started with one small module for very simple, straightforward surgical guide cases, and we continued building and building and building. BlueSkyPlan is definitely our largest digital solution and our most powerful digital solution. But as we'll see, we have, based on the needs of the dentist, we've developed additional solutions for file transfer, file storage, for giving dentists the ability to get the help they need with planning, with manufacturing. So BlueSkyPlan built into a tremendous project, and our entire digital suite turned into a very robust solution.
So what we're going to see today, this is Blue Sky Plan 5.0. This has launched or is about to launch.
So this is actually a pre-release version. It hasn't launched yet. It has a bit of a look and different feel. This is actually the first time that I'm publicly demonstrating some of the features and functionality. And I'm happy to share it with you and
That's
share.
great. And it's a wizard. Like the marketing opportunities right now are extraordinary. Glinda and Elphaba, and neither one of us are green, but even so, this is amazing.
That's exactly what we're going for to build off
Okay.
of Wicked. Okay, so we could get started. We could jump directly into the
Well,
software.
actually, we can, yeah, let's do that. I wanted to talk about I think what I wanted to talk about was like, this is one-on-one. And in a sense of, I've seen it done. I've never actually put my hands on a computer or manufactured a guide. Do you want to talk about just the scope of how you provide people information? I think what really struck me in talking to you was I never understood the depth of the access to information on planning and guides that you provide. It's like a university. It's unbelievable. Do you want to
Right.
walk through Lab Pronto and the various layers for people, depending upon their level of understanding?
Sure. Okay. So I mean, this is a tremendous topic, but let's try to break it down. So going back to our web browser here, first of all, in terms of dentists learning how to use this technology, we've built BlueSkyBio.university, which has a tremendous amount of free information connected to all of BlueSkyBio products. But in addition, we have a section, of course, related to BlueSkyPlan, where we break everything down depending on features and functionality for the relevant module. The user who wants to get started in learning could simply click on the relevant module and they could see a tremendous amount of free
Amazing.
educational content, both on how to use the software and also clinical videos on how to apply clinically the features and the functionality within the software. Now, all of this that I'm showing now is available at no charge. So somebody could come in and get a tremendous amount of education from these videos at no charge. We also cooperate with educational companies throughout the world who are providing implant education, aligner education, and people could go in, could sign up and go to face-to-face courses. In addition, they could take advantage of on-demand courses where we have pre-recorded. They could actually get the CE credits. These do have a fee involved with them, but you could rent essentially the content, watch the video, take a short 10-question exam afterwards, and get the actual CE credits. So in
Wow.
terms of education, we have a tremendous amount of different possibilities for any type, a dentist beginning with digital dentistry, or somebody who wants to go to live implant courses and learn there. Now, as you mentioned, Lab Pronto came out of needs from our users that were using BlueSkyPlan, and we got different comments and feedback that said, okay, I know how to digitally plan, but I don't have a printer, I
Right.
don't have a vacuum press, I need help with manufacturing. Or vice versa. Somebody says, look, I want to print in-house, but I don't have the experience or the knowledge yet to be able to plan those cases on my own. So, and then there's the dentist that says, look, I don't have time for digital dentistry, but I want to benefit from everything it has to offer. So how can I
Sure.
do that? So with Lab Pronto, the dentist could go in and order the help they need, whether it's for surgical guides, aligners, crowns, bridges, it's all here. The dentist could click on the relevant product, go in, read about it, see the pricing information. Aligners, for example, we offer at a fantastic price point of $4.99 for a small case and $7.99 for a large case. You simply click on order now, complete the relevant information, and you place the order. Now, all of our digital products are connected to each other. So the same information that you use to log into BlueSkyPlan, you could use for Lab Pronto, you could use for BioBigBox, which is our HIPAA compliant file transfer and storage system. You could use for BlueSky Monitoring, which is for aligner remote monitoring, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the data is transferred between each other. The login information is a single sign-in. So we've connected all of our digital suites to be one robust platform.
You are worldwide in terms of what you're doing. This is like goes anywhere.
Right.
Not a
So
problem.
the software is global. Most of our digital solutions are global. Our manufacturing solutions, we do have limitations based on the country because not
Okay.
everything is being offered in every country. But our digital solutions are global and our manufacturing solutions are local, relevant to the particular country.
Okay. So we're back to the wizard.
We're back to the software.
The
As I
wizard.
mentioned,
The wizard, Michael.
the
The
wizard.
wizard.
Let's show the
We
wizard. Let's
got
go
it.
to the
It's
wizard.
marketing.
So the software, we're always trying to balance between simplicity and advanced features and functionality. So for example, when you go to implant planning and surgical guides, we break it down into two different flows. We have our one or two implant case, which is our wizard flow, which we're going to take a look at. And then we have surgical guide, which just gives you access to all the features and functionality within the software. The user could take advantage of everything we have to offer. The learning curve for the wizard for the 1 or 2 implant case will demonstrate it right now. The surgical guide takes a little bit more time to play around with, to watch a bit more videos, but you get the hang of both options very quickly.
And just out of
So
curiosity, with regard to horsepower and stuff, the software, the hardware of the computers that people are using, is there a base requirement when they're doing this?
So the software actually runs on a surprising number of computers, even that go back a couple of years. We definitely recommend for the user who's going to be using the software on a regular basis, spend $1,000, get a computer that's good for gaming. Essentially, you're looking to get a gaming computer
Gaming computer?
that's
Okay.
good processing, RAM on the video card. But if you get a decent gaming computer, you can run the software. And again, if you're going to be a heavy user, then invest a couple of extra bucks, get a more powerful computer, and things will run faster for you.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm bringing up our wizard. The way that we are now structuring all of a dentist's information is based on patient and treatment. This way, you have the same patient list across all the digital platforms. You have
Okay.
the same data accessible from everybody. So everything is now based on patient and treatment. I have a list here of my fictitious patients. You could create a new patient by clicking the plus here. So I'm going to select a patient to get started. And then you have the treatment, which is what the patient came in for an implant case, for an aligner case, for a crown case. So you could select the relevant treatment here. We have the option to edit as needed next to it. And I'm going to now move over to the right side of the screen and select the relevant jaw.
Michael, I'm sorry
This
for interrupting. How expansive is the library of implants in your system? You have, what's the numbers? Like every
we
major
have
company?
we have over 80 implant systems in the software.
Okay.
And although we definitely recommend the use of BlueSkyBio implants and surgical kits, it's an open software in terms of that. We'll put in data from any company that is interested.
Okay.
You can contact us and we'll go ahead and put in their implants, their abutments, their drill kits, and everything connected to that. So this is our setting stage, our setup stage. I'm going to click next. And now we're at the data import stage. So this is prompting us to load the CT scan. We handle compressed DICOMs, uncompressed DICOMs, zipped, unzipped. The software can really load pretty much anything that comes out of a CT scanner. I'm going to click on the CT scan and click OK. Let's click the relevant series. We have the CT scan coming up on the screen. What we're prompted to do now is to find the relevant field of view. Now,
Okay.
this really has two purposes. You want to put in focus, you want to maximize the relevant part of the anatomy. So by excluding irrelevant parts, the views will have the relevant part much larger. And again, going back to your previous question, if you're using a bit of an older machine and you want to make the processing a bit easier on the computer, then you could define the relevant field of view, and the processing of the CT scan and everything we're going to do afterwards will be a bit easier for your computer. Okay, so here we see a preview of the CT scan, and now we're going to click and import the relevant optical scan and click OK. So this is our data import stage, and now I'm going to click Next, and the software is going to start the process, our wizard process.
So
Now,
this is where I'm sorry for interrupting again, but this is where it gets really interesting. I want to clarify something. This is where it gets complete. It's completely automated at this point, right? You're really not doing much of anything. It's going to register. It's going to identify things. I was so impressed when you showed it in terms of automatic nerve identification, the registration, all of this. Can we make sure that this is clear? Because I know people will start to go, well, wait a minute, I have to draw the arch. I have to draw the nerve. I've got to line things up.
right, so
But
we're going to
you
start the
don't.
process. We're going to start the process, and we're going to see how pretty much every step is done automatically for the
It's
user.
amazing.
The user is prompted to review and confirm, and then click Next, and just go through the wizard, the magical Wizard of Oz.
The Magical Wizard of Oz. Boy, the timing for this launch is perfect.
Okay, so what we have here, we're confirming the import type, which in our situation is a model STL. We built it with other options, which we're not going to get into now. I'm just going to mention the impression CT functionality, which is the idea of Rick Ferguson. Dr. Rick Ferguson suggested to be able to take an impression, CT scan it, and invert
Yeah.
it. So that's something that we did develop a while back based on his suggestion and feedback. We're looking at the model
Amazing fellow.
STL. And as you asked earlier, we have a lot of different implant systems and guided surgical kits. We highly recommend BlueSkyBios, but if you're using another implant system, select the relevant kit from the list. The software will remember this for your future cases. Now we're ready to kick off the process. I'm going to click on OK. And as you mentioned, every step of the process, the software is going to run, auto suggest, and allow the user to review and confirm.
This
So
is
we've
amazing.
just automatically detected the nerves. We could review and see them in our different views, including the 3D, including our panoramic 2D, including our vertical slices. And if the user does need to modify, you simply grab and drag any of the nodes and you modify it accordingly. But the vast majority of cases, you're looking, you're reviewing, you're confirming, and you're clicking your magical next button.
So this is what this is machine learning, I guess. The machine is drawing the nerve for you, and all you have to do is go down to the image library in the bottom and confirm that this is what you're looking for. That's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
yep. And what we saw now happen automatically in the background while we were talking is the optical scan. The model scan was just aligned with the CT scan. Now, this over the years has been an extremely tedious process. It's a very important step, and I'll explain why in a second.
Sure.
But this is a process that the user had to mark the cusps and the two different scans and would it
Right,
run and
right.
work. And we've completely automated it. It just ran completely automatically. It aligned the model scan to the CT scan. Everybody knows you need both scans for implant placement and surgical guide manufacturing. You need the CT to properly plan those implants, and you need the model scan to create the surgical guide. And again, the user is supposed to review the automation, review the alignment. We could see in our axial slice, we want to make sure that the yellow outline of the model is tightly wrapped around those teeth, especially as we get closer to the occlusion. We could use our different views, our panoramic as well. We could go around the arch and review the model outline around the tooth. And again, the user is reviewing, confirming, making sure everything's correct, modifying if needed, but if not, you just click on next and you proceed.
Can I just stop you for one sec? There are a couple of things that I want to make sure people understand. Number one, the wizard panel to the right. So at any point in time that you get confused, all your questions are being answered at that level on the right-hand side, correct? You can go
Yeah, so
anywhere on that wizard panel and get further clarification from the videos that you're showing. It's consistent with what you can do with the university. But I want to say this again. While we're talking, the software that your geniuses have devised has actually been identifying the nerve and registering the files with
correct.
no input from the user at all.
No input from and it just gets better. It just gets better from there. What we've done is we now automatically generate the missing tooth on the fly based on the particular data set, based on the particular adjacent teeth. So we have the second option here, which is select tooth from catalog, which used to be the default way of just choosing a tooth from the catalog. And we've added now automatically create AI tooth, which again, we're going to generate the missing tooth on the fly. So I'm going to select the missing tooth. I'm going to go down here to implant selection. And again, we have the different implant systems. Here's BlueSkyBio, but we have our list of 80 plus implant systems. And new functionality that we're rolling out now, we're going to select automatic implant, which means that the software is going to choose the implant size based on the available space. So when I click OK, and I'm going to click OK again, we're going to see the software is going to generate that tooth, select the relevant size implant, and place them in the scene. Now, the way that we do the implant placement is based on, and I'll show it to you towards the end of this, we segment the CT teeth, we segment the teeth out from the CT scan and the jaws from the CT scan. We analyze the availability in terms of placement, and we place the implant. So here we have the tooth that we generated, and we could zoom in here and we could see how the AI generated tooth matches the adjacent teeth.
So again, I'm going to stop you because again, remember, you're talking to somebody who's 6 years old right now. You just picked the tooth and you said, this is the tooth I need to replace. And the software put the implant in and the crown and set everything up. So you've
Correct.
got essentially an established situation that now you can finesse at any level that you wish, correct? But
Right. So
you didn't choose, you just told told the software what implant to use, period. And that's it.
I didn't tell it which implant to use. I told it which implant system to use.
Which implant system? Sorry, yes.
It selected the implant size by itself and it generated the tooth by itself.
That's amazing.
And now I'm going to click next. And of course, the user should review and confirm what was done. So we have in our 2D view, you're able to go 360 degrees around the implant. We have the segmented tooth outline next to the implant. We are going to be showing in 3D. By the time this comes out publicly, we'll be showing the teeth in 3D as well, the adjacent teeth. And the user could go ahead and review and confirm. The implant could be grabbed and dragged. If the placement needs to be updated, I'll undo. You could use the widget to rotate as needed. So we have all the capabilities for the user to review, modify if needed, and then click on next.
Is there any other software that you're aware of? Is anybody else doing this? Is this, are you you are the leader? You are the avatar, the wizard avatar?
I believe so.
All
But look,
right.
it's happened many times over the years, and I love looking on social media where somebody promotes and says, "Hey, look at the feature that just came out for such and such software," and then a guy like Scott Gans or somebody else will reply, "Blue Sky has had that for years." And look, I'm proud of our team. I'm proud of the work that we've done, and I think we've had very significant breakthroughs over the years to streamline the process flow, reduce the costs, and to deliver added value to the dentist and the patient.
Fantastic.
Okay, I'm going to click next. What we have here, and this is still a little buggy as we could see, but the software is placing the surgical guide curve, and the user could grab and drag any of the nodes and just update the placement of the surgical guide curve. We're working out tweaking the functionality here to deal with this type of situation. But the software delivers the surgical guide curve. The surgical guide curve indicates to us where the surgical guide is going to be created, on which area you want to create it. We have default settings. We do have the option for the user to go into properties and decide, hey, they want 4 teeth in each direction next to the osteotomy. So that's fully customizable for your cases if the user wants to change it. But we put out a surgical guide curve, and on this area, the surgical guide is going to be created. So when I click next, we have the fabrication of the surgical guide. We could see that the vertical axis of the implant is going through the middle of the hole in the surgical guide. We see that the surgical guide has reduced areas adjacent to the osteotomy, both for visibility and to make sure that the handpiece doesn't have any interference. And this essentially, we've planned our case. We have the surgical guide, we have the implant, and we're good to go. So our next steps are just going to be saving the data. We have that option if somebody doesn't have a printer and they want to outsource the manufacturing to attach it to an order form and send it via Lab Pronto. Let's take a look at that and let's just finish up our case.
So sorry let me just, before you move on. So cylinders and things like this is all part of the software. It's all planned into this. If you want to use cylinder sleeves for the
Yep.
guides.
Yeah, it's all calculated into the surgical guide. It's all calculated into the particular surgical kit that you're going to be using. We allow other implant companies to decide if they want to give us the information based on a metal cylinder or not based on a metal cylinder. So there's complete control and flexibility.
Okay. And now this is you move this into your, what's it called? Bitbox?
No, we have a HIPAA compliant file transfer and storage system called Bio Big Box,
Bitbox,
which you
right?
could send data and you could store data there. But what we're going to see now, let me click on next. First, we have the software prompting to save the case and to save the surgical guide. We have the shortcut buttons going across the top. So I'm going to go to my desktop, create a new folder. I'll call the folder preview case. And now we're going to save, the software is going to save to here the case and the surgical guide.
Okay.
So just like you would save any file on your computer to a particular location, that's what we're just doing for the entire BlueSkyPlan case. We now have the option of completing a case approval form. So if you're going to be sending for manufacturing, some dentists want to be able to confirm the planning, confirm that they want the surgical guide done. So you could check the check boxes here and save. Obviously, it's not required. You could just skip that stage. And now the software is bringing up our Lab Pronto order form. So if you're going to be manufacturing in-house, no problem. You click close and you're done. If you want to outsource the manufacturing, then you could complete the short prescription form. We're currently offering the functionality, the manufacturing for $49 plus $29, which is $78. You get your surgical guide. But I'll use this opportunity to say that if you're using a BlueSkyBio implant for your single implant cases, we offer the surgical guide, including the design and the manufacturing, free of charge. We also offer a crown for your implant case free of charge. So when you're buying the BlueSkyBio implant, we not only give you the implant, but we give you the surgical guide for your case and the crown for your case. So you'll get a coupon code, which will drop the price down, and you'll be able to order the surgical guide and the crown for your single implant cases.
Normally, I don't commercialize these interviews, but in this particular case, it's Black Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever it is. I figure out what the heck. Why not? It's Christmas and it's snowing outside, so I'm feeling very beneficent. But regardless, I mean, the concept here, what I find fascinating is, and I granted, this wasn't about selling Blue Sky product, but it's the fact that ultimately, at the end of the day, I went to the Greater New York Dental meeting. And as much fun as it is to see what's going on, given the segmentation of the market, if you'll pardon the choice of the word, which because segmentation's coming up, it's becoming increasingly difficult to connect all the dots for the products. And it's the fact that there is the ability to solution provide that I thought was fascinating here. It's just not, I mean, other companies do it, but it just, as you walk around and realize that the integration of all of this technology, the need to learn how to bring everything together is daunting. It's absolutely daunting. You walk around an exhibit hall and you're like, oh my God, where do I look next? So, I mean, obviously we're not selling your product, but I think the concept is amazing and it's important. And given that everything that you're talking about is just the value of what AI is going to bring to this profession, maybe that is what AI will do. It will ultimately be the great harnesser of all of this information so that dentists can just go do what they do and not be totally overwhelmed with all the doodads and gigas and whatever. And that seems to be exactly what Blue Sky Bio Plan 5.0 is about to do. It's awesome. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm just sitting here thinking about the last couple of days and how I'm looking at this and I'm going, all you've really done is go next.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
all due
Look,
respect, a couple of files and next.
Look, today everything has the AI label on it, and there are a lot of companies that are talking about AI, but we're able to use the AI technology to really simplify and deliver extra value,
Yes.
again, to the dentist and to the patient. And really, that's what it's all about.
Yep, it is.
And I'm going to show you in just a second another application that we have, which I think is fantastic, another AI application that we have in the surgical guide module. But just to finish off the flow here, we have the drilling report that was created for the particular implant and guided surgical kit. So all of that information is delivered in a report. It's saved to the location of your computer. You have everything done. And I could bring up the folder that we just saved everything to,
Sure.
where here we have the PDF drilling report. We have the actual surgical guide, which could be printed in-house if you have a printer.
Awesome.
And you have the BlueSkyPlan case, which you could go ahead and save to your computer.
I'm going to ask you a question because I saw Rick while I was at the meeting. Okay. And straight up front question. So you're looking around the thing. They've got Sprint Ray, they've got Asiga, they've got Shining 3D Dental, Frozen, all this stuff. If you want to start doing surgical guides, or, well, let's not get to aligners yet, but just basic stuff, surgical guides. It is reasonable with some basic tools and some basic resin today to spend $1,500, $2,000 tops with what
Yep.
Rick has manufactured, given what you're doing, to make your own guides in-house. It's not a big deal. Correct? Is
Rick
that
is
a fair
really Rick
statement?
is yeah, Rick is really the master of the printers and the hardware side of creation. And he's identified printers that cost under $1,000 that you could use for surgical guides to print surgical guides in-house, which means you could go through a process. I mean, we just went through the wizard process with explanations, and it took around 15 minutes.
Right.
15, 1 5. And after you do it once or twice, you could be planning these cases in a few minutes, sending it to your printer, and just have the surgical guide done. So between the software solutions and the hardware solutions, the entire process has just become so much more accessible, so much more accessible to dentists and to the patients, and it's phenomenal.
So let me just take this one step further because again, this whole thing was literally, aside from one-on-one, it's talked to me like I'm 6 years old. I don't care what printer you buy. Let's say we're buying your printer. All right. You've done this plan. You've gone through the wizard. The guide is ready to go. It's ready to be exported. I have a printer that I purchased from you sitting in my office at the moment. What do I need to do with the press? So I've got resins like for the guide, whatever. Is everything integrated? Is like your plan? How does the where I can't get this in my head is the plan that you've done to the printer. The printer reads it through its own internal firmware or whatever it is. Do you need to program the printer? Do you need to do anything from your end? Or is it
Now,
just the
no, I mean, this is the file. STL is the file that 3D printers are able to print. I mean, there are other OBJ, PLYs, but whatever. You're exporting from BlueSkyPlan a surgical guide that's ready for manufacturing. And ready for manufacturing means that this file, this STL file, could then be sent to your printer. Printers have software where they align it to the print bed and they add some supports where it needs to have supports. The supports snap off after the printing and you're printing your surgical guide that you designed in BlueSkyPlan. You have this file that was exported to your computer, and now you're importing it into the software for the printer and printing it out.
yeah.
It's the same way you send, a Word document to your printer to print. You're sending a 3D file to your printer to print. The materials are a little bit different, of course, but you get over a very short learning curve on the printer, and you're sending the files just like you'd send any file to print. You're sending this to your 3D printer for printing.
So you don't need to be an exocad savant, is what this is breaking down to.
No, look, I mean, we just demonstrated it, a super simple process where you're clicking next, confirming, and moving forward. So the learning curve for these
Yeah,
flows, have simplified or nothing compared to what they used to be. We
right.
used to we were discussing the registration of the model to the CT scan. That used to be 20 minutes of discussion of training just to do that process and how to confirm and that was a whole, something you had to learn independently. Identifying nerves and marking the nerves used to be something, a whole big discussion point, and the implant placement and choosing the right tooth from the tooth catalog. I mean, we've removed all of that. We've
All of that.
simplified it down to what we've just seen on the screen.
Yes, absolutely. And now we have the magic part of all of this coming up. This is the
Right. So
fun part.
So I love demonstrating this functionality because what
Okay.
we have in our segmentation panel is with a single click, we're going to segment. I'll start the process because it takes 2 or 3 minutes to run. We are going through the CT scan and identifying and segmenting every tooth and the jaws. But I started the process by clicking Start Automatic Segmentation, and now it's running. And as we see it, as the software identifies each tooth, it's coloring it, making it its own object, its own STL file, and it's going to separate all the teeth. It's going to create objects from the jaws. We currently support the segmentation of the teeth and impacted teeth and the airways. We have the option for airways as well. And in this software release, we're segmenting if a CT scan has previous implants inside of it, we're segmenting out to those implants as well. So when we develop new functionality, at the beginning, it works pretty well, but then the system learns and we iterate and it just gets better and better over time. And we just keep improving it, learning from it, And now we're at the point of the segmentation where everything is completely automatic. The user doesn't require any input, and we'll see the results on the screen in just a minute.
I have to ask a question here for a second. With regard to airway segmentation, I mean, this is obviously a very, very big issue now, especially because AI will segment for the airways and such and appliances. Who is it? Todd Shire and the people at IHDS, I think it is, in Dallas, they do this with Marianne Evans. They do all these amazing things about sleep apnea and the like. Does your software work with any field of view? Does it matter? It's not an issue in terms of the scan. It's just a scan.
It really depends. Look, we need the relevant field of view. Obviously, if you want to segment the airways, we need the airways. For surgical guides, you could get by without a full draw scan, depending on what you're doing. With the software, will load it. It's really depending on your application, what you're trying to extrapolate from the data, and the applications you're trying to use it for.
Right.
That's more of the question than anything else.
Okay.
All right, so what we see on the screen is segmentation is completed. We have a different object, a different option here for every STL file. We have the jaws, which we have a transparency setting for. You could select, a particular jaw, make it transparent or less transparent. These are also exportable. They're closed files that if somebody wanted to print, they could go ahead and print. And we're delivering this feature and functionality in the software, accessible to everybody. And really, there's no additional cost involved with the functionality.
Well, there are companies that are selling this technology, right? Like you guys, this is part of your software.
Yeah, there are many features that we build into the software that could be, a standalone business model. But what we're trying to do, and I didn't even discuss, if I just in a minute, I'll explain the overall business model of the software, because the software you could download and install free of charge, many computers as you like. We don't charge yearly fees. We don't charge upgrade fees. We distribute the software, and everything that we just demonstrated could be done with completely no charge. What we do charge for, and to generate income in order to complete and continue development of the software from build to build, is to get the data out of the software to your computer. So the
Right.
surgical guide, for example, when we saved it to the computer, it uses what we call an export credit. An export credit costs between $10 and $22, depending on how many you buy at a time. So all the planning and everything is completely free. When you want to get the data out for the models, for the liners, the surgical guide, for example, the denture, then we charge an export case fee for
Right.
those applications. Some things such as crowns, bridges, you could design, you could export at completely no cost. The model manipulation to invert models, to close models, to cut models, extract teeth, all that stuff is also available at no charge. The segmentation that we just did is currently available at no charge. So that's our business model. So you could download, anybody watching this wants to get started today with digital dentistry, you go to our website, you download the software, you install it. We give you 2 free export credits from the get-go. You go ahead and have a great time with the software. Once you're up to speed and comfortable with it, then obviously we recommend the purchase of additional export credits to use it, for your cases. And like I mentioned, we roll the money back that we get from the credits back into software development. So you're getting your surgical guide, you're getting your aligners, but you're also, enabling us to continue developing the software.
You've also got some amazing guys that when I started playing with this after we spoke, what's his name? Hold on. I mean, to me, Scott Gans is the guru. He's the godfather. He is the wizard, but he's definitely out in front of the drape. But what's the guy? Corey Glenn? That was the guy. Now there, you've got one. He is one. Just to go to this to listen to him do presentations. This guy is a hoot. He's
Yeah,
outrageous. I mean,
look,
actually, it was amazing.
yeah, Corey is fantastic. Scott is fantastic. We develop a lot based on feedback from guys like that. Corey loves hacking BlueSkyPlan and comes up with features and functionalities that we didn't even
Interesting
intend
guy.
initially to have. And then we'll go ahead once he says, guys, you really need this because today I'm doing it, by scratching my left ear with my right hand. You need features to do this easier, and we'll go ahead and, and build them.
I don't.
Our
The only reason, sorry for interrupting. The only reason I brought up Corey was it's interesting. Does he lecture? Does he go outside and lecture at conferences and stuff? Because I've never seen him in Europe. Like, I mean, and
Yeah,
I'm not acting as his agent, but the guy's freaking unbelievable. He's entertaining. He's funny. He's brilliant. He's
he
clever.
is. He's incredible. He's brilliant. He lectures internationally. He's
Does
flown all
he?
over the
Okay,
world
good.
lecturing. He also has his own educational center where you could go to him during the day. You could learn digital dentistry, and at night you could go hunting. It's an incredible experience. He's an incredible, brilliant guy.
Okay,
He lectures
interesting.
independently, has face-to-face courses, and provides us with a tremendous amount of feedback and insights and suggestions for development. He reviews the functionality. He's really, he's a
It's amazing.
big part of the team.
Listen, Mike, I appreciate you doing this. I realized this was not again, this was sort of different. This was just sort of we had spoken. I got to play to do stuff with things I have never done. I didn't send out a guide, but I got to fiddle around. But what was fascinating in this particular thing was I'd done work with Navident in the past where we were registering and calibrating and things had to line up and you used to have to listen to the sound to make sure everything fit. And now I'm looking at this and it's hysterical. The only thing that you're missing is a magic wand. Instead of going next, you just have to go whoosh, haptics on the computer screen and boom, off you go. It's to the next step. This is
Well,
pretty amazing stuff, and I really thank you for taking the time today. I'm gonna put it out. I think people, it's a good time to see it. This is what next year holds. When is the official launch date? What is it?
we're probably looking at the end of the first quarter of 2025, but we have in our Facebook group, we have a fantastic community of people reviewing and testing the software. So if somebody wants to play with it today, you could go to our Facebook
Really?
group,
Okay.
search for BlueSkyBio in Facebook, and we have pre-release versions where somebody could go and download and actually use it. We encourage feedback because that's how we keep getting better and better. And yeah, so if anybody's not part of the community, definitely recommend joining it. It's also a great educational platform regarding hardware questions. Like you were mentioning earlier, people ask what's the best printer, what's in this price point, about functionality, about the implants, anything connected to BlueSkyBio. It's an ongoing, very active group and discussion on Facebook.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. And I actually will probably see you in April because I'm going to come back and visit. And it's a good time to say hello. And thank you for doing this. I really appreciate this. I hope this, listen, I've been an endodontist for a long time. There are always early adapters, right? 10 years later, everybody garners onto it. But in this particular case with 3D printing and things like this, I don't think at this moment in time in dentistry, anybody is in a position to wait. We no longer can wait until the technology grabs hold. It's like intraoral scanners. Intraoral scanners were probably the last bastion of holdouts, but you can't do that anymore. It's not possible. It doesn't make sense. You cannot hold out. And with what people like Shining are doing and Medit have done with scanning and whatnot, and now you don't have the luxury of waiting any longer. And with what you guys are doing with AI, you don't need to. It's pretty amazing.
Look, we love partnering with other companies. You mentioned XNav. You could take your digital plan in BlueSkyPlan and send it to XNav. So you could do your planning in BlueSkyPlan and send it to XNav. We've integrated bridges with different CT scanner companies, with different printing companies. And the integration just simplify things even more for the user because you're not saving and transferring and uploading, and the data is just moving from the CT scanner to BlueSkyPlan to the printer.
Yeah.
So we've had a good amount of cooperation from other companies, and we definitely encourage it.
Awesome. Listen, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it. Go pick up your son.
Ken, thank you. Thank you for facilitating and having me, and the discussions are fantastic.
It's a pleasure. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon. We have to talk about
Okay.
aligners. Wait, we're not over yet. We need to do more. When this is ready, let's do aligners.
This is just the beginning. I mean, there's so much to talk about,
Okay.
and this is just the most simple process flow in for implant planning. But aligners, I would love to jump into aligners because we have a
Next.
tremendous amount of automation and cutting edge technology that we've built into this release. And yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we will. Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay.
Take care. Talk to you
Thank
soon,
you.
Michael. Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Bye-bye.